Perfect. So I want to start by just welcoming everyone to this live training event. I'm Danny Eny from Firepole Marketing, as I'm assuming everyone who's on this call knows. The guy who's on this call with me, who's actually going to be leading this training, who you might not know yet, but you're going to get to know really soon, and you're going to appreciate the opportunity to do so, is Jerome Adair, a guy who I connected with online, my group together. He is a very sharp, very talented. There's a lot of information, very little fluff. I've watched recordings of an earlier version of what he's going to present today, and I'm impressed each time by how quickly he gets into the meat and potatoes of what he's actually going to teach. So not a lot of kind of introductory matter or story. It's just straight to the nuts and bolts of exactly what you can do and how you can apply it and how you can get results. So this is a training that you're going to get a lot out of. I hope you're paying complete and undivided attention to what Jerome has to say, because you don't want to miss any of it. So on that note, I'm turning the microphone over to Jerome. I'm going to hit a little mute switch because I'm at Firepole Marketing headquarters, like my whole team of 6 people in the background who are being very careful to be very quiet right now. So I'm going to hit the mute button, and then Jerome, it's over to you. Take it away.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Danny, and I'd like to welcome everybody here. Now we're ready to get this thing started, so let me begin with this right here. Now, I've been on a lot of webinars in my day, and they all follow a particular pattern that everybody hates. Now, number one, usually what happens, the presenter first tells their sob story, and then they go on to describe in detail how awesome they are now, and this takes usually about 20 minutes. The number two, the presenter then goes on to describe why everybody should want to know the information that they're going to share, and how wonderful life is going to be once you have that information. And that takes about 15 minutes. Then the presenter then starts to deliver the information that you actually signed up for. And this is what you've been waiting for. Then the presenter ends up giving you more of an overview that wasn't nearly as detailed or useful as you hoped it would be. And that takes about 10 minutes. And then the presenter then delivers their sales pitch. And this takes up the remainder of the webinar, usually a good 20 minutes or more. Now the sad part is that the information they promised you when you registered for the webinar is the section that they typically spend the least amount of time on. Now, does that sound like your normal webinar experience? Let me know in the chat box if this is all too familiar. Okay, and this is a chat box test as well. Just type something in the comments in the chat box, and we'll make sure it's working. Okay, let's take a look. I actually need to pull up my here. Okay, hey, looks like Carol made it on. Yes, okay. Ken says yes. Jonathan, yes. Dan says yes. All right. Amy, yes. Roland says it's so true. Okay. Percy says, is the chat working? Yes, it is. Okay. Karen, yes. Mark, yes. Ellie says yes. Okay. Yale says they're all like that. Greg says, unfortunately, yes. Okay. All right. Beth says, I don't see the chat. I also have Nigel helping me here. Nigel helped me set up this webinar and is going to be conversing with you if you have any difficulties. And Nigel is, as you can tell from his name, he's from the UK, he's British, and so he has this wonderful accent that we all go for. And so as he's chatting to you, you can pretend that it's like James Bond. You know, he's doing it in that kind of a voice when he's helping you out. And so, and not the Sean Connery James Bond. We're talking more like the Richard Brosnan James Bond. Okay, so he sounds like that. So thank you, Nigel. All right, and Jackie says yes, and Pete, and okay, and so anyways, and many more of you commented. I've actually timed with a stopwatch many of the webinars that I've attended, and they really do spend this much time on each section. So what you're saying here is really true. Now, each of these 4 sections, I should say, they have their place. They are important. But I've structured this training today so that most of the time is dedicated to the instruction you came here for. So we're going to go through a couple of items right now and then go straight into the training. Now this training will probably go for just a bit over an hour, probably an hour and 10 or 15 minutes or so, because I had a couple of things I added here based on emails that I've received from you over the last week or so. So Pierce Brosnan, thank you, Kent. I said Rich, yeah. So, all right, so a couple of things here. Now, while people are still joining, let me take a minute. I'll introduce myself. My name is Jerome Adair, and I run the site solopreneurmarketing.com, and I am dedicated to helping solo entrepreneurs, okay, solo business owners learn internet marketing and thrive online. And so I created a site that's dedicated to solopreneurs, where everything is geared towards solopreneurs. And you can join this site and become a member of it. And so as I'm talking during this training, I might say that one of my members did this, or one of my members said that. So that's who I'm talking about, members of my website. And when you become a member, the first thing I do is I have a one-on-one call with you, so I can get to know you and start to tailor what I know to your business. And that's called the marketing game plan call, or the one-on-one call. And then I hold regular conference calls that all my members can dial into, where we tackle any problems you're dealing with, and we give you solutions. And that's called the mastermind call. So if I mention the one-on-one calls or the mastermind calls or members, at least you'll have an idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Now I should say this. I choose to serve the smallest of the small businesses, the solopreneurs, okay, individuals going it alone. And I've chosen this for a couple of reasons. And because, number one, I believe you deserve the best coaching and support available. Because in my mind, everything great starts with you. Okay, every great business leader credited for making people's lives better, they all started out at one point or another as a solopreneur. And the thing about solopreneurs is not just the money that you're after. Okay, that's part of it. But if there's one thing I know about the vast majority of you, it's that you're really honestly trying to make a difference out there at the same time. Okay, most of you chose the business you're in because you feel that you can truly help people with what you have to offer. And that's something that I just love being a part of. And my second reason for focusing on solopreneurs is that when you need help the most, okay, when you're working alone or you're doing everything yourself, this is when you need some really clear direction and expert mentoring, but you're the least likely to get it. Okay, not only because you might not be financially well off, but because the better a marketer gets, they tend to move on to larger businesses and higher paying clients. And that means that for the solopreneurs, the really experienced people tend not to be around. You're kind of stuck with the less experienced and the people who are just kind of getting started themselves. And I think you really deserve the best coaching available. And because I think you're the people making the biggest difference in the world. So that's why I'm here. And that's me. And that's all I'm going to say about myself, because I've got way too much information to cover. And by the way, I'll make my notes available to you. I'll show you where to find them near the end of the training, so don't worry about trying to copy down all the info on your screen. You'll get a copy of everything here. Now certainly write down any good ideas that you get, though. So we know that ideas have a shelf life of like 10 seconds, and they're gone. So don't worry about the screen, though. All right, so let's get started. Now I've taken everything that solopreneurs need to know to market their business, and everything basically fits in these three categories that I call the pillars of solopreneur marketing. You got content marketing, which is basically how to create the right content and then squeeze extreme value out of everything you make. Number two is the audience marketing, how to deliver and receive maximum benefit from every visitor on your site and every client that you serve. Okay, and collaborative marketing, how to leverage other people's content and audience to grow in leaps and bounds. Once you've got these three marketing categories under your belt, you can really take your business anywhere you want to. You can keep it simple and continue to run things yourself, because this is all built so a single person can run it. Or you can grow and expand and bring other people on board until your business looks however you want it to. Where you go is up to you, but you'll have the expertise, you'll have the reputation, and the influence you need to take yourself wherever you want to go. So let's start with content marketing. When you registered for this training, I promised to talk specifically about how to squeeze the maximum results out of every blog post you write. Okay, spend less time writing and more time getting traffic, subscribers, and sales from every post. So let's start there. And right now we're going to focus mainly on the social marketing aspect of content marketing. Now, let me start off by encouraging you to write very short posts, somewhat infrequently. Now, I say this because you'll run into marketing experts who will encourage you to write daily, and they'll encourage you to write long, epic posts, and that's good for some people, but not for most solopreneurs, particularly because you have a business to run in addition to writing content. So let me tell you now that a majority of you can get away with writing a short post once every week or two, as long as that post centers around a valuable tip or something that your target market would find useful. You're good to go. And then you spend the rest of your time promoting that content, okay, which is where you get the traffic and the subscribers and the sales. So how do you promote the content? This is where one aspect of social marketing comes in. So let me back up, but let's say that I'm a brand new business owner, and all I've done is written a couple of blog posts. Okay, I've kept them short, to the point, stick to answering a single question or a problem that my target market might have. Okay, and anybody with a blog can do this. Just make sure your posts are informative and interesting, because next we're going to get them in front of your audience. And what are some ways that you can do this, such that you can benefit many times over from every blog post you've written? The first strategy I want to offer you is the related articles method. Now, this is the same strategies that big websites use to suck you into their site and never let you go. You notice how you finish reading an awesome article on a popular blog or a news site, and the next thing you see are all sorts of interesting related articles, and 2 hours later you've forgotten to pick your kids up from school, right? Because we see a couple of interesting sounding posts with a link to them, and we're instantly curious. Okay, we do this on YouTube all the time. We finish one video, and we instantly see another that sounds interesting. Okay, that's simply related articles, only using videos. So how can you use this strategy? Can you take 3 of your most interesting sounding blog posts and place them on your Facebook business page description, on your LinkedIn profile summary, in your forum signatures? Don't forget about email signatures, descriptions in business directories, online advertising. Okay, often we'll place our newest blog post on social sites and send it out to our email list, but after that we don't do much with them. Okay, now this related articles idea can be used anywhere, not even just online, but offline as well, on flyers and yellow page ads and postcards or business cards. Okay, if you can print the words, "To learn the top 5 ways to drastically improve your health, visit mysite.com/top5." Okay, if you have space to put that someplace where people will see it, this kind of intriguing information will often pull better response than such special offers or coupons or discounts. Now, if you look at your screen, you'll see a screenshot of a LinkedIn group where I've started a fake discussion. Okay, in case you're not familiar with this, LinkedIn, like many social sites, allows you to post discussions and questions for the rest of the group to read and comment on. Okay, you can start a discussion on Facebook and forums and all sorts of other sites where your target market hangs out. So I find a group that caters to my target market, I join it, and I start a discussion. And I'm basically going to share one of my blog posts with this LinkedIn group. Now, I used to walk through this live with me creating a new blog post and actually posting it, but it just took too long. But as you'll see, it's just copy and paste. And so now you get a screenshot, and this is what you're looking at. Here's what I do, and I've done this hundreds of times. I simply copy the title of the post that I've written to be the title of the discussion, and I've copied the body of the post that I've written to be the body of the discussion, so that now anybody who reads this discussion on this LinkedIn group, it will be like they're reading my blog post on my blog. It's just they're reading it on LinkedIn. Now, these kinds of informational discussions tend to be very well received by other group members and by the group owners, particularly on LinkedIn. Now, hopefully people will comment and they'll ask questions and they'll otherwise interact on this discussion, so that I, if I'm a new business owner, I can get better at speaking to people and answering their questions and understanding what they're thinking. Okay, this is a great way to get experience and find your voice and get in front of your audience. But at the end of this new discussion, I've also added the titles and links of 2 other blog posts to the bottom of my post. I've labeled them related articles. If you're looking at your screen, you can see where they go. And the idea is now that when somebody reads my discussion, they'll get to the bottom and they'll find links to 2 more interesting sounding articles. So when I submit this discussion to everyone else to see, I'm using the same strategies that these big websites use to keep people on their sites. And in this discussion now, if they click on one of the related articles, they'll go to my site where they'll be able to read the article they chose. Okay? And once on my site, I'll give them all sorts of persuasive reasons to join my email list. And this brings me to my next point. Not only am I using my previously written content to drive traffic now, I'm also interacting with my target audience, which is key to getting experience and developing my unique position in the market. And at the same time, I'm driving traffic to my website and building my email list. And these are the kind of strategies that I like to focus on. They're strategies that do multiple things at once, because we're all very busy, right? And so if we can learn strategies that help us accomplish several things, then that's the kind of thing we want to do, and this strategy does just that. And this can work just about anywhere you're allowed to post discussions, and it's typically most effective on sites that cater to your specific niche. Okay, it works really well, and it's easy once you've written a couple of posts. Okay, it makes your blog writing time much more worth the effort, because if you don't do something like this with your blog posts, where you're spreading them around in different areas and trying to get people back there to read them regularly, then any post that you write is basically dead a couple days after you publish it on your site. Because after a short while, it disappears down your archive links, and it's like you might as well have never written it, because nobody ever sees it again. Because how many of you, let me ask this on the chat, how many of you have been blogging your hearts out for what seems like forever, and you haven't seen any benefit from it? Have any of you experienced that? Go ahead and write in the chat if you've spent hours writing on your blog, and afterwards you get no results, and you wonder why you're even doing it. Have you experienced this? Good. Yeah. Diane says me. Okay. Cynthia says yes. Maria says yes. Roland says absolutely. Carol says yes. Debbie says I thought this just this morning. Okay. Ryan says I've been feeling that way a lot. Karen, yes. Smith says yes. Marcy, yes, I have. Okay. George says I quit writing after a while. Actually, Karen says, oh yeah. Let me comment on that, because you're not alone in this. Because I wrote faithfully on my first blog when I was a web designer for a full year. Okay, and I wrote long posts on my blog every week. And by the end of that year, I had like 27 subscribers. And they were all people I knew personally. Okay, they were all friends and family, and I put them on my email list myself. And after a year of writing and nobody reading and 0 comments and no traffic, I gave up. Okay, I didn't know how to promote my posts. All I had to show for a year of dedicated writing, hours and hours and hours of writing, was a blog full of old, ignored posts. So I quit blogging for 3 years. And I don't want anybody here to experience that. It was a mistake that I stopped, because there are many good ways to reuse good blog posts so people see them repeatedly and they make you money for your business repeatedly. And using them in discussion groups is just one example. And then, of course, the other ways I talked about spreading them around. So if you have some good old blog posts that you haven't really used, or at least you can write a few, then you can start discussions and bring visitors to your site with these posts. And these are great strategies if you've been writing blog posts and you haven't been seeing the benefits of it. The next method for squeezing maximum benefit out of every post you write is the repurposing strategy. Okay, so what about video? Turning your best blog post into videos to attract a new audience is a great way to reuse good blog content. You've already written it, so you might as well voice it and put it on a video. And then when you post your video on a site like YouTube, use the video description area to offer links to related blog posts first, and then the video description afterwards. You got a visual of that on your screen. One of my own affiliates, using videos I created and provided for him, he gets more clicks and signups through YouTube than I do using this strategy. You can even create special offers out of old blog posts. And create ebooks and special reports out of your best blog posts to give them away to your site. One member of mine, and let me say, I'm going to throw a lot of examples at you. What I'm hoping is that you'll pick up something, or it'll give you an idea, or maybe it'll relate directly to your business. And so I'm just going to toss examples all day long here. One member of mine is a hardwood floor installer, and he's creating a PDF that he can email to his prospects. And it's titled something like The 7 Great Lies of Hardwood Floor Installation. And inside, there are many links pointing people to his top blog posts so they can visit his site repeatedly and really come to know and trust him. Okay, there's a guy named Marcus Sheridan who's known for writing a lot on swimming pools, and he's become very popular for this. And he's a guy I've been conversing with, and he says that if you can get somebody to read 10 or 20 of your posts, then by the time you're going to sell something to them, it's pretty much sold. And so the idea is with a PDF, if you can, and if this is your type of business where you need to get in front of somebody and make that sale, then putting a PDF together with a lot of links back to your website where people can study it out on their own before you go in there to talk to them works very well. Okay? So you can do this kind of thing. And if your ebook is good enough, then you don't have to give it away. You could sell it. Now, I mentioned Nigel. He's helping out with this webinar. He reported to me that he's made a sale every day in the month of May, which kind of has a nice ring to it. But mainly, he's done this because he's put 4 of his ebooks for sale on the first page that people see when they join your email list. Okay, it's called the thank you page. We'll talk more about it in a little bit. But each of these books, they usually go for $20 each, but he's selling all 4 of them for something like $6.97. And he's made something just shy of $1,000, or maybe he's over $1,000 now, just in the last month and a half. And this is way more than he's made from the books individually when he was selling them apart. And all these ebooks is just old content. I mean, it's still good content. It's very good, but it's content reorganized and repurposed for selling. And can you do something like this? Now, bottom line is, if you've written some good blog posts, take the time to repurpose them into new forms and then promote the heck out of them, okay? And use them in all sorts of good ways so that long after you've written these posts, they're still marketing your message for you and bringing you traffic and subscribers and money. Now, let me take a moment here to introduce a man named Jerry. Now, Jerry Dominguez is one of my members. He's a print broker living in Southern California, and he's been in business for over 30 years. Now, not too long ago, Jerry noticed that the Internet was starting to take a bite out of his business, and this next part is something we all have in common. Jerry decided to learn Internet marketing, and he figured it would take a couple of months to get up to speed, and then he'd be rocking and rolling again. So he joined email lists, and he watched videos, and he attended webinars, and was very dedicated to learning how to market online. But instead of figuring things out, he began to feel like he was drowning in all the information. For 3 years, Jerry spun his wheels trying to apply what he learned. Okay, he spent a lot of money on education. And during these 3 years, he lost over 50% of his clientele, and his revenue was cut in half. Okay, his income even more. And that's when we met. And when we had our first call together, our one-on-one call, I could hear the frustration in his voice. And he referred to himself as being old and dumb, and that he obviously wasn't smart enough to figure this Internet stuff out on his own, but he had to do something. And I'm listening to this, and I'm thinking, here's a man who has been in business for 3 decades, and he's very smart, and he's been very successful. And he's been able to figure out everything that business has thrown at him until now. And now he's been working so hard and beating his head against this for so long that now he feels like he's an idiot. And these conversations are just heartbreaking because I meet people who feel this way all the time. Now, has anybody else felt this way where you said to yourself, I must be a moron that I haven't figured this stuff out yet. Have you felt this way? Type it into the chat box if you would. I just want everybody to see how common this is and that you're not alone. Have you felt this way? All right. Now John says yes. Carol says absolutely. And Pete says all the time. Okay, Owen says not a moron, just overwhelmed. Good. Some people take it a lot farther and just feel awful about this, and they blame themselves. Seriously. Dan says I felt that way too. Too old to learn new things. Yeah, Adrian says yes. Mike says all the time. Jillian says I've been this way for 2 years. All right, Kent says add to that the disorganization complex. Oh, great, great. All right. Yeah, Ryan says yes. Steven says yes. Tony says me too. Okay. There you go. And let's see here. I'll read this line so fast. Yeah, okay. That said something here. One of the problems I have is that it seems that some social sites move so fast I can't keep up. This is overwhelming. It keeps me off them. Yeah, absolutely. And there you go. On the chat, I can see a lineup of intelligent business owners and entrepreneurs. Okay, and some of you are business veterans. Others are just getting started. But everybody has felt this way at one point or another. And what I was saying is, you know what? It's not you. There's nothing wrong with you. Like I say, some people take this to the extreme. I did. And things haven't turned out the way that you thought they would. But this happens to everybody. And I've written a fair bit on this particular topic, and some of you have likely seen the reasons I found that so many people are experiencing this. But we'll talk about that later. But for now, we're going to get back with Jerry. Jerry is at a loss for what to do. Okay, he's in the printing industry, not an easy industry to be in anymore. He is, in a lot of ways, starting from the beginning. And I bring Jerry up so you know that because he has really turned things around in business. And he's a good example of many of the things that we'll talk about here today. And Jerry and I discussed what to do with his old blog posts on his site. Just to give you an idea of how you can adapt this strategy, one thing that Jerry does is he meets a lot of his prospects offline at networking events. And so anybody who goes out to a networking event, this might be helpful for you. And you know, like everybody else at these events, Jerry would simply pass out business cards to everybody he met. Okay? Well, using the power of related articles, like we talked about, it's a cinch for Jerry to print up some small flyers with his business information on it and then add 3 of his top blog posts prominently on the flyer. So now, no matter how long he gets to speak with somebody he just met, there's a decent chance that somebody will look at the titles of the 3 blog posts on the flyer, and even if just one of them sounds interesting, they're much more likely to visit his website and read it. It's certainly more likely than if he just handed them a business card. Well, let me tell you this, okay? Actually, to be completely honest, that is not what I told Jerry to do exactly. What I actually told him to do was when he met somebody new at a networking event, that he should use 2 simple sentences that will get you a lot of instant email subscribers. So whenever somebody hands Jerry a business card, I told him that he should look at it for a moment and say, I've got some information on my blog I think you'd really like. Can I put you on my email list? And everybody he talks to says, sure. Because everybody's trying to be sociable at these things, so who's going to turn him down, right? In this instance, his blog was just an excuse to get permission to add people to his email list. But it works great. Okay, and then Jerry can hand him his flyer and use his 3 top blog posts as a way to start a conversation. And of course, they can still read the blog post later on. But the point is, do you see how you can spread your blog posts around after you've written them? Any place you're given enough room to share several of your most popular blog posts, you have a much higher chance of pulling someone to your site than if you just say, visit my blog here, right? So to recap, we just talked a little about content marketing and how to squeeze maximum results out of every blog post you write. And we talked about that by spreading them around in many different ways and repurposing them, okay? And these are all ways to help you better connect with your prospects and bring them to your site. Now this is one of the topics I promised to cover. And we're going to have to move on here, but would you say that I've done a decent job here? Go ahead and toss that in the chat if you would. Let me know if what I've said here has been useful for you, okay? Natalia says yes. Debbie says yes. Fiercey says good job. Dan says excellent. Okay. Catherine says great job, thank you. Beth says yes. Karen says yes. Marion said loads of new ideas, many thanks. Excellent. Mersh, I don't know how, somebody, Carol. Very helpful so far. Okay, great job, thanks, says Carol. Kent says restores some hope. Excellent. David says yes. Kent says sorry, hope. Okay, yes, hope. Jillian says very useful. George says excellent. Okay. Excellent, great. I'm glad you like it. Good. And if you have any questions, please type them in the chat box. I know I've seen a couple go by that I'll definitely answer at the end of the webinar. Okay. Dan says this is very worthwhile to me as I've been blogging since 2006. By the way, Jerry is much like me. Thanks for that comparison. Excellent. Yeah, Jerry is a very common story. I talk with new business owners, well, they're new to me, and that's a very common experience. Okay, so what we talked about so far falls under the social marketing category of content marketing for solopreneurs. And we really haven't done social marketing justice here. There's a lot more that you can do on social sites. But so you know, social marketing is often the first place that I have solopreneurs go to get traffic and interact with their target market. It's free, it's easy, and it just takes some time and effort and a little preparation to make it work. So there are 4 other sections we haven't touched on, and we won't have time to go in today, but if you're looking on your screen, you'll see there's positioning, there's content creation, there's email marketing, website optimization. And I was thinking if there were any quick tips I can give you on these sections. And let me mention this, just as an example, because this is kind of common too. When Jerry and I first had our first marketing game plan call, which is the first thing I do with everybody, Jerry's problems were pretty apparent to me. He was trying to be everything to everyone, which worked fine before the internet came along, but now people have a lot more printing options. As we spoke, though, I discovered that Jerry has a great love for nonprofits. So I encouraged him to niche down into the nonprofit industry so he would appear very valuable to that specific audience. And then we got the domain name nonprofitprinters.com, and we started a new website and everything. And we knew it was working well when he'd introduce himself to a nonprofit person, and he'd say, hey, I'm Jerry from nonprofitprinters.com. And their eyes would light up, and they say, really? So it worked really well, okay? And this is part of the positioning section here, and because that includes your message and your niche and everything like that. And let me put in just a quick plug for website optimization. Okay, because website optimization is about the focal point of your website. Okay, and your sales funnel, your site analytics. And it might sound like boring stuff, but one of my members sells ink cartridges, and by spending about an hour optimizing a single page on his website, his sales nearly doubled, and his email list opt-in rate went up 300% instantly. And now, of course, this was a very important page on his website, which is why we focused on it first, but website optimization can give you great results, and it gets ignored a lot. Okay, people are much more interested in talking about traffic, but focusing on improving your website first is really key. All right, so anyways, all these sections are very key parts of your marketing, and they're the first things we need to focus on, optimizing your message and your site. Because you say, what good is getting 1 million visitors to your site if none of them subscribe or buy anything? All right, that's a quick look at content marketing for solopreneurs. But we have 2 more pillars to look at. So the next one I'd like to cover here, and something that I promised to when you registered for this training, is how to get referrals from your audience and clients and make everybody you come into contact with want to share you with others. All right, because so far we've talked about content marketing, And by using the strategies I've already mentioned, you can get 20 to 50 visitors to your site a day, okay? And this means you've got an audience to work with. So the next pillar of solopreneur marketing is what I call audience marketing. And the section I'd like to focus on here is referral marketing. All right, referral marketing is the most loved and the most feared form of marketing out there. We all know we should be doing it, okay? And there's a decent chance that we get good business from it already. And we know that referrals are much more likely to buy from us and stick around longer than the average customer. But most of us have not created any formal way of asking for referrals. Why is that? There are usually several reasons that we don't get more referrals. We feel like we're begging or like we're chasing people, and we don't like that. We don't know what to say, perhaps, or when to say it. And what happens if we ask and people don't respond enthusiastically? Okay, what does that say about us and our business? And that's just on our end, okay? And what is the other person thinking? The person that you're asking for the referral. They're concerned about giving you referrals because sometimes referrals backfire. There is risk in there for them, with very little reward sometimes. They risk the person that they refer not liking what you offer. They risk you messing things up, and then their relationship with the person they referred might be hurt. Okay, there's risk in sending people your way. Now, there's a lot we could talk about when it comes to why referrals don't happen. Well, let's talk about how to make them work. Of all the things that we could explore that make referral marketing work, there are 3 keys I want to focus on that I believe will be of most worth to you right now. Key number 1 is to make it low risk. Whether you receive referrals online or offline, or in person or from a distance, okay, maybe from people you know well or from people you've never met, and maybe you never will meet them. There are things you can do to minimize the risk that they take referring people to you. And so let me give you an example of an online situation where people whom you've never met are your referral source. Now, we're all familiar with the social sharing links on blogs where you can get a like or a tweet, how people can share you if what they've read they found useful. And the one thing that you'll see on all my posts is something that looks like this on your screen. It's called Add This, and you can find this little plugin here at addthis.com. And this is a very simple way to allow people that have never met you to share your work with their audience. Okay, they are, in effect, referring other people to you. Okay, but these links typically don't get a high percentage of people referring you this way. And so to try and maximize the number of shares, somebody created this concept of pay with a tweet, where your reader can receive special content, but only if they send out a tweet to their Twitter followers referring others to that content first. Now, the reason this practice isn't widely used is because it introduced high risk to sharing a link through Twitter. And the risk here is that your reader is recommending something to their Twitter followers that they haven't even seen yet. Now, do you have an easy time recommending something you haven't seen yet? No. And the content, because the content may be poorly written or contain bad advice, but they don't know unless they refer other people first so they can get a copy of it. So what can you do to take the risk away but increase the chances of somebody sharing your content? What if you allow people to read your content first, but then offer them a special bonus chapter or additional information if people will send out a tweet about the content they've already read? The idea is you've taken away the risk because you allowed them to see the content first. It's previewable, that's even a word. They can preview and evaluate it before referring. Plus, you're adding a reward for sending out a tweet. Rewards, coincidentally, help nullify the risk and make this an even better low-risk referral. People are willing to take risks if there's a corresponding reward. So a new friend of mine, Peter Sandine, offers a short PDF on how to find your value proposition. And after you receive the PDF, he immediately invites you to share the PDF with others with a tweet, for which, if you do, he'll offer you some personal feedback on the value proposition that you just created using his PDF. I thought that was ingenious. Yeah, it's easy, it's natural, and I was more than happy to subscribe and then tweet his offer so that I could talk with him. And this is an example of your everyday site visitors, encouraging them to refer you to others. And I'll share a few more examples with you in a minute. Now, and just in case, I'll say, if you're interested in exactly how you can do these things on your site, like having people tweet something and then unlocking a reward, I'm testing out different plugins and such right now, and I'll be sending out the results of what I find by email soon. So keep an eye out for that. But let me give you an example of doing this with your current customers or clients. And in this case, the referral is made offline and in person. And once again, I'm just going to toss examples at you, hoping that something will give you some ideas or you can apply it directly. But whatever you offer, can you offer a special discount or freebie to both your current customer and the person they refer? One of my members runs a bath and body shop, and we've talked about this, and he's considering running a special where he invites each of his customers to return to his shop for a 30% discount on their next purchase. If they bring a friend to the shop with them, and their friend will also receive a 30% discount. You see, some people are hesitant to refer others if there is a reward involved, because it's another form of risk. They might not feel like they're being genuine if there's compensation involved. I mean, you know the feeling. What will the other person think if you get something for making a referral? But if your referral gets the same reward you do, there's a dual reward, and then you're both doing it for the same reason, and the risk is gone. Another example, an electrician I'm working with offers his clients a $50 discount the next time they hire him after he finishes a job for them. But he's noticed, of course, that not too many people have need of his services again very soon. So we set up a social sharing link that his clients can click on to offer the $50 to their friends on Facebook who may need an electrician. Okay, whether they need it or not, it's great advertising. You're getting the endorsement of that person to all their friends, and the risk of sharing is minimized because it's a $50 offer. Sharing something of value that you aren't going to use anyways is a generous gesture, and people like to be generous. There's a little risk in that. Now I could go on and on with examples, but there's something else that each of these examples have in common. And the second key to getting more referrals is to make the process extremely easy for the person doing the referring. If all the person has to do is click a share link or send out a tweet or invite a friend to go shopping at a fun bath and body shop that's running a special offer that you both want, these things aren't hard to do. Okay? You want to make it easy. You want to make it fun. Okay? You make it as simple as possible. Just remember, for online visitors today, easy means minimal clicks, little to no typing, and absolutely no thinking. If people have to sit down and figure stuff out, they just aren't going to. Now on my site, my members can get free coaching with me if they invite their friends to get free coaching with me. One of the ways I try to make this easy, yet help my affiliates make the invitation personal. So this is more personal than a tweet or a Facebook post. Okay, is I give them a form where all they have to do is they put in somebody's name and email, and I'll automatically send their contacts an email with an invitation to see a special video or some kind of a special link. I provide a couple of sample emails that people can use so they don't have to come up with the wording themselves. And then my member is automatically recorded as the referrer, and then they'll get an email if somebody requests the free coaching. And they'll actually get an email if somebody simply watches the video so that they know who's watched it. And in fact, I'll give my members special bonuses simply if they refer, if their referrals watch the video. So even if nobody takes the offer. Okay, and we're kind of wandering into affiliate marketing territory here, you know, how to work with your affiliates, but that's a different section under audience marketing. But the idea is that you want to make it easy for people to refer you. Yeah, the easier the better. The third key to making my referral system work, or making any referral system work, is to make it automatic. Okay, this is the third key I want to share with you. When I say automatic, I mean that the referral process is somehow built into a system such that it happens automatically. Each of my members automatically is invited to refer others. Now this happens because I have it set up as an email autoresponder. And this means that when someone has been a member of mine for a certain period of time, they automatically get this email teaching them how they can refer others. Okay, it's not something I have to remember to do. There's no special effort I need to make. It just happens automatically. Okay, getting back to Jerry, we place special offers on his email thank you page. Now when I say thank you page, I'm referring to the page everybody sees after they subscribe to your email list. Okay, and this is a very important page. When somebody joins your email list, they're probably about as hot a prospect as they're ever going to be. And not only that, but they just took action and subscribed to your email list, which means they're in action-taking mode. Okay, they've got action-taking momentum. So your thank you page is a prime place to make offers and invite people to take action. Okay, and it happens automatically without you having to do anything. Just like Peter Sandine earlier. Okay, his offer shows up on his thank you page, and everybody who joins his email list sees it. So when it comes to automation, is there something you can automatically do, or is there some way that you automatically interact with your audience? And how could you slip something in there, some kind of an invitation to refer people to you? Okay, do you send out invoices every month where you can invite people to refer others? Or do you send out thank you cards when a project is done? Do you invite people to forward your emails to others when you've taught them something useful? Could you offer something at the point of sale, such as if you have a physical shop, can you hand them something with their receipt? Or if you're online, what can you do after they purchase something? You have regular communication with the outside world right now. So where could you insert an invitation to spread the word and then use some of these other things to make it easy for them and to make it take the risk away? So those are the ideas on referral marketing that I came prepared to share with you. And those are the three big keys to effective referral marketing: making it low risk, making it easy, making it automatic. And that's a really messy screenshot, isn't it? But now when you register for this training, one of the three things I promised to teach you was how to get referrals from your audience and your clients. And can you tell me in the chat box if I gave you some good information? If you got some ideas on how to do that? Did you get something useful? Let's see. Greg says yes, and he says yes. I'm reading some of the previous comments here too. But oh, I think Mercy. Oh, that's how you pronounce that. Mercy says excellent ideas. Okay, Patricia says yes. Jill says lots of good ideas. Rob says another good section. Good, good. Ryan says yes. Tony says yes. Great information, thanks, says Karen. Carol says you absolutely have. Steve says yes. Pete, Susan, Perry. Thank you. Okay, excellent, excellent. All right. Now there's a lot more we could cover. Okay, we talked a little bit about referral marketing, which is one of the sections on the audience marketing pillar. And of course the ones we didn't get to were engagement and affiliate marketing part one. I say part one because there's another section of affiliate marketing where you're actually the affiliate, and that's under the collaborative marketing pillar, which we'll hit next. But affiliate marketing in this case, I'm talking about working with your affiliates and creating an affiliate program, because that is oh so effective. And viral marketing, which is it's kind of that fits under the referral marketing section. It could, but it's got its own section because there are some things that you can do specifically to increase the viral nature of your marketing. And so, but that's some of the different pillars. We won't be able to get to those sections. So let's move on from audience marketing. Now we've got one more section to go in the collaborative marketing pillar, and we're going to talk about how to easily set up killer joint ventures, get others with larger audiences to happily promote you. Now I should mention at this point, Jerry was winning new clients. Okay, we chose a niche, we focused his message, and we made his contact with them more effective. And he said, and I share this with permission, I don't know how many times we've spoken on the mastermind call since, but in the months that I've been a member of with you, your advice has landed me 9 new clients for a total of $42,000 of much needed income. Before I met you, I felt lost and frustrated. And this is my favorite part. Now I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited for my business. And that's some of the stuff that I really like to hear, of course. And his results have made business fun again. And that's fun for him. That's fun for me. And of course, because Jerry came to me very frustrated. And if you're frustrated with your marketing results, let me share something with you that helps put this frustration into perspective. And it all has to do with this picture here. I was going to tell you a story about how my kids destroyed a 1,500 piece puzzle I was working on and how they lost the box with the picture in the front, so I didn't know what the picture was supposed to look like, and how internet marketing is just like trying to make sense of a big pile of puzzle pieces. But then I got an email from one of you just a couple of days ago, and I read through it, and I thought, you know, this just sums things up so much better than my story does. And this person wrote to me and said, anyways, you asked about what our biggest issue is right now. And that's something that I ask every time somebody joins my email list. I send out an email automatically that asks about your biggest issue. And she said, I keep reading and hearing this and that about different forms of marketing, article marketing, blogging, forums, social media, and it just seems so time-consuming, and I am not 100% convinced of the results it can bring. I'm trying to come up with a marketing plan that makes sense and will bring results, and that's where I'm stuck now. And that just nails it. The main issue with marketing online is that there's so many different ways to do it, but how do you know which way to go? And this is why Jerry thought if he sat down and spent a couple months to figure things out, he'd have his internet marketing thing down. But the longer he worked, the more overloaded and frustrated he got. Okay, and soon he felt stupid. And that's why I was going to give you the puzzle analogy, because figuring out internet marketing is like trying to put together a massive puzzle. Okay, the answer is in there someplace, but you don't have the big picture to look at. And there's only one answer to this situation. If you want to put your marketing puzzle together, it's quite simple. All you need is someone who knows what they're doing to sit down with you, show you what the big picture looks like for your business, and then help you place one puzzle piece at a time, okay, and show you where it fits. That's all. You don't need a ton of information to sift through like a giant puzzle. You don't need some almanac on all the different marketing approaches so you can test them out one by one yourself. If you understand the big picture and somebody can show you where to fit the pieces, you can complete your marketing puzzle in record time. Now, it still takes time, and it takes work, of course. But if you've got ongoing support from somebody who's an expert in the field, you'll make progress and see results faster than anything else. Okay, that's what it boils down to. And so what I want to offer you on this training today is a one-on-one call with me and 2 weeks to the daily mastermind calls, all for free. And with the one-on-one call, I'll give you your own personal marketing game plan, okay, the big picture, plus a couple weeks of full access to these mastermind calls that will provide you with the support every day if you want it for me and my other members, so we can start to place those puzzle pieces in the right spot. And all this comes to you at no charge. So does that sound like a good deal? So I can get you started on the way to making complete sense of internet marketing, what to do, when to do it, and how to do it the right way so that you're not spinning your wheels anymore. Okay, and Roger says, sounds like a great deal. Okay, that's excellent. So how do you get it? If you go to imfbo.com/Danny, all right, and when you visit this link, you'll come to a page that maybe you've seen before, maybe not, but there's a link to the slides here. So this is the page you visit to get the notes from the presentation. Okay, and there's also a video there that people really like, and an article I wrote for my studies on why internet marketing is so difficult. If you haven't seen that, it's it's worth the read. And if you scroll down further, there's information on the one-on-one call that I hold with you and my mastermind calls. And you're welcome to read over all this, but let's get to the point of why we're really here. And that's if you look down at the bottom of the page, it says 3 plans for getting your lifetime membership. Now every plan here results in you having a lifetime access to everything I've got. Why? Because if you're listening to this right now, you've probably got the entrepreneur bug. And chances are you'll be building some form of business or other for the rest of your life. And I'd like to be here to offer you marketing advice and strategies whenever you need it. And I'm willing to, first, give you a good taste of everything for free so you can really experience what it's like to have access to someone like me who can guide you through all your marketing decisions. Okay, and this will be different than anything else you've experienced. This kind of access to personal coaching is typically reserved for people with very deep pockets. And it's fun to compare. My most recent business coach charged me nearly $200 an hour. Okay, but you can see here that you'll get at least a couple of months of daily coaching here for that. I paid $800 for my very first info product at a time that I couldn't really afford it. And you know what I got? I got a box of CDs. Okay, but not only that, I found out months later that the information on those CDs was over 2.5 years old when I bought it. And they were still selling it like it was the latest and greatest. But do you know how useless 2.5-year-old internet marketing information is? I mean, the most useful thing about that info was the box that it came in, because at least I could use it as a booster seat for my kid. Okay, and you can also use it to prop up furniture and store leftover food in them. Okay, that was my first $800 I spent. Now, do you think I would rather have that or a lifetime membership to a group that meets online daily to give me professional marketing help whenever I need it? So, a vast majority of my members have had the same experience, like Fred here. He says, I would have saved $20,000 in 14 months of my life if I had found Jerem first. For heaven's sakes, people, join here first and save yourself a lot of time and money. Okay. But this offer doesn't last forever. So if you're on the imfbo.com/Danny page right now, or once you visit it, you'll notice a red banner down at the bottom of the page. Okay. This offer, this opportunity to get everything I have for free is good until the timer on that page runs out. So about an hour from now. And this is just to give you some time after the training is done to look this page over. And if you've already decided to start though, feel free to sign up right now, because you'll also notice that there's a special bonus for the first 20 people who get started today. So give it a shot. Okay? And this is not meant to be a hard choice. Either you want to see all the possibilities and see how I would market your business if I were you, or you don't. But I'm open to spending some time with you. So try out my offer and let's see if I can double your sales or triple your sign-up rate, or make you $42,000 you wouldn't have made otherwise. Okay, you have nothing to lose. Just don't wait too long. And while that's happening, let's finish our training. Okay, third pillar of solopreneur marketing, collaborative marketing. Now this is really where you start to build your empire. And the kind of empire I'm talking about is one where you have great reach and influence. Okay, and it's built on respect and mutual benefit. It's not the Empire Strikes Back empire where you lord over your competition with an iron fist. In fact, many successful businesses today work together with their competition to help each other out. Okay, it's a brave new world if you approach it with the right understanding. So when you registered for this training, I promised to teach you how to set up killer joint ventures, get others with larger audiences to happily promote you. This topic fits under the cross-promotion section of the collaborative marketing pillar. Now, all the things we've talked about up until this point will now come into play here. Okay, the knowledge and expertise you've developed as you've written posts and shared them with others will be very important. Your referral system will kick into high gear at this point. All the other things that we didn't have time to talk about, the act of finding your voice and optimizing your website, refining your marketing funnel, keeping your audience engaged, this is where the rubber meets the road. Because you're going to be using all these things to build a relationship with and then tap into the audience and resources of bigger players in your industry. So if there are other businesses, larger businesses, who have the ear of your target market, or professionals inside or outside your industry, maybe in a related industry that you'd like to work with, we're going to talk about some ways to approach them such that they'll be happy to work with you and let you tap into their popularity and their authority. Of course, the approach to working with others who are about your size or smaller requires a slightly different approach than what we'll describe here, because there are ways to really maximize how you work with people like that. But they're easier to start with. But talking to the big guys is the difficult one, so we're going to tackle that right now. And here are the steps to making this happen. Number one, get to know them. Visit their site. Okay, how do they communicate with people? Do they answer their emails? Do they reply to comments on their site? Do they interact with people on Twitter? Because you're trying to find out where their attention is. Okay, what are they working on currently? What are their goals? You want to join their email list. Okay, follow them on Facebook, on their Facebook page. Any place where they send out information, go ahead and do a little online stalking. All right? Because the next step is get their attention. Now, usually before you make official contact, you try to use some line of communication to get your name in front of them. The reason for this is next you're going to reach out to them and try to establish communication and make some kind of an offer. But the busier somebody is, the more likely they'll ignore your communications if they don't recognize your name. So it's a good idea to find simple ways to get yourself and your name in front of them. Now, to get yourself on their scope, you can comment on their blog posts. Okay, even if they don't respond to your comment, they almost certainly read every comment. One well-known marketer named Danny Iny, whom we all know, asked me to write a guest post on his blog after I left 3 or 4 intelligent comments on his site. Okay, that got me in the door. That's how we met. In fact, a good question to ask in the chat would be, how did you go from commenting on Danny's blog to doing a webinar for him? Because obviously there are many steps in between. That's not part of what I'm going to present here, but that would make a great question for the end of the webinar. Another thing you can do to get their attention is to have success using their product or service, and then let them know about the success you've had. Okay, that's a great way to get somebody's attention. I wrote an email to one of the top webinar masters. His name is Jeff Roning, and I was describing the success I had to him with one of his programs. And I asked him if he wants a video testimonial, and then maybe I could also share some of the things that I did to make his program a success with his other students. Okay, he was open to all of that. So now I've got an open invitation to work with him, and quite possibly his students too. Can you see yourself doing that? Is that a possibility? And be on the lookout for opportunities. One reason I want you to join their email list and keep tabs on people is because, for example, one man I'm interested in working with sent out an email saying his site was down again and please be patient. And so I wrote back offering him some free space on my virtual private server. And he wrote back and really appreciated that. But even though he didn't take me up on that, I took that bit of positive attention and I replied to him with some really good marketing advice. Okay, something I had noticed because I was stalking him, right? And he liked what I said so much that we started talking. And he dedicated a radio show of his to the advice that I gave him, and he had me come on to his show to introduce the topic. And next, he'll likely be doing a webinar for my audience. Okay, you should all be on my email list, so look for an announcement about a guy named Mark Kohler. Okay, he's a CPA and an attorney, and he'll be talking about solopreneur financial and legal advice. So he'd like to do a webinar for my audience, but before that, I'll be talking about internet marketing on his radio show coming up soon. Okay, and all this started because I responded to an email, and I was plotting how I could get his attention. Okay, let's see here. How's the time? We're at the top of the hour here. I'm going to skip over a couple of things here, but okay. Well, let me tell you about Jerry here. We'll get back to him. He was mostly meeting nonprofits, okay, offline at networking events, right? But these events were being hosted by somebody, and it turned out to be a couple of particular business owners. And without me telling him anything, Jerry started getting to know these business owners just because he was around so much. Okay, these conferences would go on every month or two. And so he'd walk up every time, and he'd talk to them, and after several meetings, they knew his name and who he was. So he had the foundation set to take the next step, which is make an offer. And when I say offer, I mean you're offering something to them, okay? Now that they will probably at least recognize your name and would open an email if you sent them one, the door is open for you to become a resource to them. An easy place to start is to offer to write a guest post for them if they accept guest posts. Okay, that's an easy offer to accept when they recognize you and they like you. Okay, and this gives them a break from having to come up with something to write about. And writing guest posts typically gives you a link from their site to yours and gets you traffic and things like that too. Some of the blogs that I've written for see a noticeable bump in traffic when my guest posts come out because I tell my email list about it. And they like that, the people who are running this blog, and they ask me to write more. And this is where building an engaged audience and an email list is not just an asset to your business now. Okay? It can help you build your relationship with others. And there are other things that you can do when you've got some name recognition with somebody. You can give them direct access to your audience. If you've got an audience that they would like to reach, you can tell them, hey, I've got an email list of X number of people on it, and I'd like to introduce you to them. Can I interview you? Okay, an interview is a great way to get some personal time with them and build an instant relationship. If you've got a large enough audience, and by the time you go through the first two pillars, you ought to, then interviews work great. Now, if the interview route doesn't work, try asking them if they have a popular blog post or some piece of content. A lot of them will have ebooks or other things available, and see if you can take that and refer your audience to it, okay, as an introduction to this person you're trying to work with. Because everybody appreciates sincere efforts to promote them. Or think about this. And once again, I'll just toss a lot of ideas at you here because there are so many different situations. I'm hoping that something will work for you here. Is there something that you do well that if you volunteered your time or talent or your assets to further their goals, once you know what it is they're trying to accomplish, would they really appreciate that? Absolutely. Because that's what I did with Mark Kohler. That's what I did with Danny as well. Whatever your target people are doing in their business, it takes them time and energy. And if you can find a way to help out with that, they will be very appreciative. Back to Jerry, he volunteered at the events that he attended. We came up with ways to him to help facilitate and make things easier for the people who held the event. And these people held these events, like I say, every month or two, and dozens, if not hundreds, of nonprofits would show up. Wouldn't it be great if Jerry could get himself in front of that audience? Because once you found a way to help, the next part is where things really take off for you, and that is ask for favors. When you've done something of value for somebody, you want to keep things moving along. And when you've done, say, a guest post, and let's say it does well. For example, my first guest post at Copyblogger, which is one of the bigger blogs out there for copywriting and marketing, my first post for them did really well. Okay, 1,400 people tweeted about it. They got a lot of comments and results. And I immediately pointed out the results to the Copyblogger people and offered a few more guest post ideas, which they accepted. If you can write a few more guest posts like that for them, then you become valuable. And when you become valuable, say you've written them several good posts or promoted them or made them money, however you do that, then they're willing to do things for you. Some easy ways to ask them for their help is to, for example, ask them to send out a tweet on your behalf. Tweets are very low commitment and very fast. So asking somebody who likes you to tweet something for you, like your latest blog post, is easy. Most higher profile people have active Twitter accounts. Okay, or perhaps you can ask them for a testimonial that you can then place on your site. Okay, a quote from somebody well known in your industry can do wonders for you. Or perhaps you can ask them to introduce you to other big names that they know. And this can open doors for you to new relationships that you just couldn't get otherwise. So there are many ways to work with well-known and influential people. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Now for Jerry, over the course of a couple of events, he became more involved, helping behind the scenes. Okay, he became higher profile by manning tables. Then they asked him if he wanted to conduct the raffle, which meant that he could stand up in front of the audience and introduce himself and hand out rewards to the audience. But then his big break came when he was invited to present at the next event. Okay, and I'm not even sure if he asked for it, but they were more than happy to give him some time on stage because he had become valuable to them. So he's going to be on stage in front of 50 to 150 nonprofits. And we're planning out right now how to be prepared for that and make the best of this kind of opportunity. But the overall idea is that you're greatly expanding your influence and your audience through others. And as you do, other people of influence will be much more interested in getting to know you because now you've got resources that they'd like to have access to. You very well may have others approach you and offer to write guest posts for you or take you out to lunch or offer you other things because now you're getting a name for yourself. The net result is that when you want it, you can push a button and send out a few emails to some key people and instantly reach a huge audience very quickly and make any endeavor of yours successful very quickly. You've developed your positioning and your voice and your branding. You've got a relationship with your audience, and you've got a relationship with other people who have audiences. And with these things in place, you can create success after success. Does that all make sense? That's what I came here prepared to talk to you about when it comes to getting others with larger audiences to happily promote you. You know, how to get to know them, get their attention, make them an offer, and ask them favors. Did I cover that to your satisfaction? Did I give you some ideas that you can use? Please let me know in the chat if I've done a decent job here. Let's take a look. Mary says yes. Greg says yes. Annie says yes. All right. Paul says, gave me great ideas. Good. Dan says yes, I can use a lot of this. All right. Excellent. Percy says excellent. Tony, Ryan, Stephen says yes. Okay. Excellent. Good, good, good. That's a bit about cross-promoting. Okay, and obviously there's a lot more to explore on the pillar. You know, there's still networking, affiliate marketing part 2, and I think Carol says your presentation has been eye-opening and inspiring. Thanks for so many awesome ideas. Awesome. I'm happy to see that. All right, networking, affiliate marketing part 2. This is where you become the affiliate of other people, and you're working with people that can become quote-unquote super affiliates for you. Okay, so this is, you know, taking affiliate marketing to the next level. We talked a bit about cross-promoting, working with people with larger audiences, joint ventures, and tribes. Now, tribes is kind of a trendy word right now. I'll probably come up with something better later, but for this, this was kind of a new one for me, and this is where you bring your collaborators together, and you can organize your collaborative efforts a bit better and expand your network faster. Okay, and you can do this if you're all working together instead of just you alone reaching out to individuals. And that's what Tribes is about. So that's what I've got for you. And I hope this gives you a feel for how everything ties together. I hope you've picked up several good ideas to help you in whatever stage of marketing you're in. In fact, if you would, please write a quick comment in the chat box and let me know how your experience has been during this training. I'm looking for positive comments, and any feedback you have for me is greatly appreciated as well. And I know some of you have been leaving feedback as we've been going along, and so I'll be looking at that for sure. But please take a moment to do this right now, if you would, and because I want to make sure my trainings that I conduct are really effective and a good use of your time, and that you feel that this was a great place to be for the last hour. All right, and let me just say that I'm interested in your feedback because I really do want to see you succeed. I believe in the solopreneurs of the world. I believe that we're the ones that will make the difference. And if I can be a part of your progress, either by working directly with you or spending an hour sharing information like this with you, or even just shooting you emails when I feel that I've got something of value for you, then I feel that is the best use of my time possible. And so I'm very grateful you stuck around to listen to me up to this point, and I hope you feel it's been a good use of your time as well. And looking at the comments that I see coming in, it seems that you do feel this has been a good use of your time too. All right, and I'm totally going to copy these comments and put them someplace where I can read them. But thank you very much for your comments and feedback, your participation. Please continue writing comments if you're not done, but now it's time for me to stop talking and start listening. And so write any questions you have for me in the chat box. Hopefully we've already got some good questions there, and I'll stick around as long as it takes to answer your questions. And do remember that the first 20 people to join here get a special bonus. Let me actually put that, there's the link there. Again, imfbo.com/Danny. So feel free to take a look at that. You've got some time to look that page over, get a feel for what's going on. So I'm going to take a second to get a drink real fast, and then I will be right back, and I'm just going to be looking through the comments and finding the questions that you've got. So thank you very much, and I'll be right back.